Hello, everyone, and welcome to Disney Magic Podcast, a fun new Disney podcast hosted by a British guy. I'm your host, Zach Campbell, and you can join me every other week for magical stories, amazing guests, intriguing history, and overall a trip down Main Street, USA. From Disney parks to a galaxy far, far away, we'll be talking all things Disney and just how magical it is. Get ready for this episode because it's starting in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. Welcome to Disney Magic Podcast. I am your host, Zach. Welcome to episode 4. If you missed last time, episode 3 with RJ, it's up in the top right for you, and I will leave the playlist down below for you so you can go and catch up with the podcast. We've had 2 guests on so far, both have been amazing. We're back for the solo episode this time around, and oh boy. This is going to be a good one. I feel like I've been wanting to talk about this for a while. And, you know, getting into it, like, being able to have this idea and just have, like, have this opportunity to just shoot everything and just bring it out and just get everything on board and just get it out there. It is always super fun. So, yeah. Hope you're all doing good. Hope you're all doing well. It's been a couple of weeks. I'm enjoying doing the 2 weekly episodes every 2 weeks, and a lot has happened. Let me just before we get into it, I've booked a Disney trip for my 30th birthday next year. Going to Disney World, boys. We're doing it. We're going to Disney World. It's been a long time. But I finally booked it, finally able to do it, and with that, I put a poll out on Twitter and on the channel as well. Y'all want to come along for the ride? And I am more than happy to do so. 100%. So we're gonna get that emotion now. I don't know how it's going to work on this channel with that. Obviously, it's primarily a podcast channel, but I do want to share. Got some rubbish on my sofa. But I do want to share the opportunity, my experiences with y'all. And I feel like the best way to do that would be to, do them. Well, probably do the videos when I come back. And get them out every other week that I don't upload the podcast, maybe. So then, you're getting a podcast, an episode, blah 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 blah. That kind of way. I feel like that'd be a good indication. And of course, whilst I'm over there, I am going to be recording some podcast episodes too. Whilst I'm over there, maybe a couple, and have those come out when I come back as well. And just relive those memories. It's just going to be super duper fun. I'm so excited to go, and I'm super excited to get on that and to have a good time with that. But yeah, I'm super excited. Super excited. Very excited. But today's episode, this week's episode, is all about my favorite Disney media that I like to consume. Actually, I have got to put one on here that I want to. I want to talk about here as well. So there we go. Okay, so I have a lot of stuff that I want to talk about, and so I'm just going to jump into it. Like I watch a lot of content on the tube on YouTube, and I just want to bring them out to you guys as well, because I know if you're not within the Disney community, or you're not within like the Disney history side of things, then it is hard to find these channels that are super informative, very well done. And honestly, the ones on YouTube, like they feel somewhat better sometimes than the documentaries that I do watch in hindsight. Or they're done to that degree of editing, and it's just they're just moving. They really are. They're so informative. And then obviously we're going to talk about some Disney vloggers that I want to follow about. You know, your big ones, your big ones. We've touched, excuse me, we've touched on it a little bit in the past, with talking with Malika, back in episode 2. Yeah, boys, it's gonna be a fun episode. It'll be a fun episode. Yeah. So, without further ado, let's just jump right into it. So, I mean, there's so many good content out there. Some of them have been doing it around for years, and I've been watching them for years. You know, ones that have watched pretty much ever since I've started following them. I've been watching every video through uploads, or I've watched every video up to a point where I've gone back through their catalogue and watched every video. Yeah, it's one of them. It's just I like to consume a lot of Disney content, and I did say back in episode 2 with Malika that if there was a course to become a Disney historian, I'd take that in a heartbeat. I would take that in a heartbeat. I would do that job, and realistically, I'd love to make those kind of videos, and I think I have done in the past, way in the day, where I used to make like Disney theory videos, and those did extremely well back in the day. Yeah, so I love doing that kind of stuff. I love watching that kind of stuff. I love researching all that kind of stuff. Um, but there are two here that I want to talk about that are classed that I'm going to class as today. Oh, no. I'm going to class as today as Disney video essayists, and they don't do specifically Disney content. They don't religiously do Disney content. They do other theme parks. They do other, you know, other other things that are very interesting. But more or less, they do Disney stuff because there's a lot of history there. The company is 100 years old. It's one of the oldest companies going for animation and information. You know what I mean? In that kind of aspect. The two I want to talk about first off is Defunctland and Yesterworlds. Now, these two channels are so well done and so interesting to watch with the niche subjects that they do. You wouldn't think anyone did it. You don't think anyone would do that. I just want to add another one here as well. There we go. There we go. Okay, so yeah, there's a lot there. Defunctland is an amazing channel. So same as Yesterworld. I put them two together because they make the same kind of content in the same kind of ballpark. It is all history of the rides, of the systems of Disney and how they work in the context of the podcast episode. But they make a lot of content based around Disney and based around how the park works, how old rides, old concepts, old things that have moved on. And I've learned a lot from these two channels where I feel like my Disney consumerism and information has come from these two channels for the past, how long have I been watching? 6 years, 7 years? Easy. Past like 6 years or so. probably not that longer, one of the two depending. Not on the top of my head, I'm not too sure. But those two are insanely good and some of my favourite, to be quite honest. Like I say, those two are the ones that I watch. As soon as a new video drops, I watch it as soon as I possibly can. It's always such a good, fun, entertaining video that I learn a lot, and I'm super proud of being able to be part of their community and being able to learn something new every video. Or if I don't learn something new, expand on something that I already knew through their videos and through their media. It's always a fun time. Always a fun time. The next one I want to talk about is Offhand Disney. Now he is a little bit different in terms of, he has a few more. He has more skits. He has more jokes in his videos, but overall they are informative and they are. Yes, the world and Defunctland are niche. I feel like Offhand is a little bit nicher. He throws in some park vlogs in there as well. On the when he goes to the parks, and he throws in his interpretation of bits and bobs of the rides and stuff like that. There is one video that he did. I don't know if it's his newest one, but it was a very entertaining video where he went to California Disneyland and walked the track of the People Mover. Now the People Mover isn't at Disneyland; it is only at Disney World. It used to be at Disneyland, California, and has since been removed ages ago and is yet to return for those avid park goers. And Offhand is one of those avid park goers. The People Mover has not yet been there. Now, if you've never been to Disney World or you've never been on the People Mover, it is an extraordinary slow ride that just takes you round Tomorrowland with an aerial view, takes you in Space Mountain, and just lets you have a wonderful time. In all honesty, it is a wonderful time. It is fantastic. It is one of the best rides. Just to get in a bit of shade, just to take a breather, chill out a bit, have a good old time. Have a good old time. But yeah, there's Offhand is another great one that I like to consume his content. And again, I learn something new every time. And I'm super excited to watch his stuff and to learn something new from him. Yeah. And like me, he's a big fan of Pirates and Haunted Mansion. Two of the best rides at Disney, hands down. I can say that with all honesty. From those, are probably two of my favorite dark rides, right there. And yeah, so shout out to Offhand, I guess. Doesn't need it, but shout out to him. It's always fun to learn some new stuff. Another one is a newer one that I've found recently. That I've been binging a lot of content is George Browning. He is again comes under the Defunctland and Yesterworld kind of Disney essayist that that takes a concept of a very niche subject or a very niche part of the ride, or parks, or what have you, and makes a video about them. His last Disney video was about how Disney created sightlines and how they blend the reality of you being in a certain area in their park and not being able to see anything beyond. And it was a very interesting concept, and very interesting how they did it. We had he was talking about Galaxy's Edge and how they did that. Cars Land over in California Adventure. How they do it in Fantasyland, how they did it back in the day, how they still do it now, and it's one of them where sometimes it's been a little bit, not as productive as it once was, and a little bit lackluster, a little bit lazy. But yeah, it was a super interesting video. It was a very interesting video. And yeah, it was very very cool to watch. Very very cool to learn the inside little tricks how they do it. Because it is interesting. Because when if you like I say, if you've never been to a Disney park, and you get to experience that, it is something different. Like the way that so I found out that the way they did the main street from George's video here is that they push everything to the middle. So you come in from like the main gate and you go under the they call it the berm, which is the which is where the train goes, which is like your line of where your perimeter of the park, yeah. So you go under there and you come up and you're in Main Street. Now, to get to see Main Street, you've got there's like a hub. You have the partners statue, and then you have like a turntable as such. It is like a circular part, but you can't see anything. You've got to make your way down Main Street, so you've got to come from the right or from the left, and then you're in the middle of it, and then you have a perfect view every time of the castle. No matter what park you're in, you'll always have a perfect view of the castle walking down Main Street, USA. It's very cool. It's very cool. And it's one of them where like it's cool to learn that. Like obviously the facade of the ride you will see, like the Haunted Mansion, it doesn't take place in the mansion. It takes place in a massive show building that you will never see unless you do like an aerial view or you watch these videos or you go behind the scenes. Like you trespass. And there's another video from George Brown actually where he did one about Disney Urban Explorers, and this was probably I think this was the first video I watched when it popped up for me. I was like, oh, that's interesting because Adam the Woo used to be a Disney Urban Explorer until he branched out and everything like that. What he does today, and we'll get to Adam in a little bit here. But George Browning was on about the thingy of Horizons, all the rides that closed down, and people used to, you know, get off the ride when it was on, when it was functional, and explore the parts of the ride, the animatronics and things like that, and then jump back in before, the end of the ride. And it was very cool. Excuse me. It's very cool to learn about those type of things because there's a place called Discovery Island that's slap bang in the middle of Bay Lake near Magic Kingdom. It used to be a park. It used to be like a wildlife park. It was kind of like Animal Kingdom's older brother or older sister, older sibling, um, and it was interesting to watch and interesting to see that people used to go and explore there, and these people made a name for themselves, and discovering River County that used to be Disney's first water park before Blizzard Beach, Typhoon Lagoon. It's very cool to see those videos and those the history of that. And George brought that to me, and it was very very cool, very very cool. And I appreciate that. So thank you, George, for your entertaining videos. I will be looking forward to the next upload Disney wise. I watched the newest video, which was very cool. Oh, that Disney one. It was a park in where was it? Park in Germany, was it? Berlin, I think. Was I can't pronounce it. Phasialand or something like that. It was basically like ripping off different rides and things like that in the past. They were talking about the defunct rides of there, and it's very very cool to see the development of those and the development of the park itself. Um, oh, let me get comfy. Let me get comfy. But yeah, so George Browning is another one that is very very entertaining, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Moving on, next one I want to talk about is one that is fairly new, to the YouTube world, and the concept is awesome. Now, from what I can tell, he's a smaller YouTuber, but he goes into so much detail and talks about things that I would not even think that I am interested in, but I watch every single upload. And I think he's got like 5 videos out at the moment, but they are so in depth and so interesting. And the concept of it is you're at a party and you're always waiting for something to happen, or you're waiting for someone on, or you need something from someone. This guy called Mike comes over and gives you a rough estimate of amount of time on how long the video is going to take. So have you got 25 minutes to talk about something or other? And it's always something so interesting. Like the latest video from him, it's not always Disney content, but it is cool to watch other place in the world where, you know, it's not always Disney. And it's cool to see. This one was about Saw the ride at Thorpe Park. And this was such an interesting video on how it was camp, like a concept of like the Met Gala. It was very cool. It was very interesting. It was an interesting video. It's an interesting theory. It's an interesting video. I loved it. I love Mike's content. It's very cool. And Mike, I would love to collab with you if you're watching this. Let's collab. Let's get on the podcast, mate. Let's chat. Let's have a dish, because that'd be super cool. And it'd be very cool. Also, if you do want to be a member of the podcast, you do want to join the podcast as a guest, let me know. Hit that link down below. Comment down below, and we'll get something rolling. But yeah, Mike from the Party Man. That channel is just awesome. Very cool. It's a very cool concept on how he does his videos. The lighting's cool. The music's cool. The setups are cool. The chapters on how he does it all are very cool. I just love his content. I love the way it's presented. I love the way how it's brought together. It's very cool. It's very cool. Same kind of niche. Now this one, same kind of thing, but this one, the next one does more Disney Channel original movies, more Disney Channel in-depth like analogies, and it's very much nostalgia, and it hits his name on the head. Mr. Nostalgia is he has an animated like character. It's very cool, very cool. The concept is, like I say, Disney Channel original movies, Disney Channel kind of like shows from past. It's a cool concept. It's a cool concept. It's very cool to like remind myself of those movies that I've not watched in a hot minute, and it's like, yeah, I remember this movie. It's very cool. He gives like an in-depth detail of like the movies and all that kind of stuff, and he gives his own personal kind of like opinions on them and stuff like that, and he brings it all round. It's very cool to have that kind of information out there, and it's very cool to see, and to just be part of it. You know what I mean? It's interesting to watch these videos and just say, yeah, this is the content I consume. I'm happy with this. I love learning new things. I love being reminded of the past, being nostalgic. Simpler times, I am a millennial. Simpler times were had when I was younger. 29 this year. Simpler times were had when things were simpler. Yeah, when things were simpler. But hey, moving on to the next part of this. Moving on to some Disney vloggers. There's going to be some Disney vloggers, the ones that are there day in, day out through the parks, exploring the parks, through the lens of a camera. You get to go with them, a POV, if you will, and spend a day in the parks with your favourite YouTubers and your favourite Disney community. And I'm talking some here that are very cool. Now, there are two in here that are daily vloggers for, Disney content and content around both California and Orlando, and Florida and things like that. And there is another one in here that does more in-depth details of other things in the parks. So we're going to go through all these three. I'm going to start with my favourite. My favourite, hands down, is Tim Tracker. Him and his family, Jen, Jackson, and Oliver, are just the adorablest little family, and honestly, beautiful. I've been watching Tim and Jen for about 10 years, more or less. I've followed pretty much all of their adventures, and I've been a hardcore fan of theirs for a long time. I absolutely love their, what they do, what they're about, how down to earth they are, how friendly they are, how charming they are, and just how wonderful they are as people. Just their little family is just wondrous. Tim is fantastic. I absolutely love Tim's videos. I love the whole concept of the daily videos, going into the parks with Tim and just exploring everything around in like the Orlando area and just exploring with Tim in general. It's super fun. He goes into daily vlogs. He lives in Orlando. He lives about 10 minutes from the parks. He gets to do it for a job. That is his job. He gets to go to Disney for a job. How freaking cool is that? And that's the dream. That is the dream. That is the dream. Going to Disney for a job is the dream. Try the food, ride the rides, pass holder access, cast member previews because of friends and family and things like that. What a life. What a life. I would love to do that. I would love to do that. It's still time, probably. There's probably still time. The podcast does well enough. Hey, you never know. I could move over. I could do that. But yeah, Tim's a super cool guy. The whole Tracker family are just fantastic, and I love every single video. And it is another one that I watch religiously. I watch every single upload, and it is just, you feel like a part of their family. You feel like you are a tracker. Um, Sorry, my bracelets are jingle jangled. But yeah, it's you feel like you're part of the family, and you're like an extended member. You're with them. They're just so friendly on camera, and everyone that's met them in person just said how friendly and wonderful they are. One of my goals next year is when I go is to meet the trackers, or at least Tim. Like that'd be awesome. To see them in the parks, in the wild, as it were. Tracker them down. Yeah, yeah, that's what we're saying. We're going with that. We're going with that. I'm gonna tracker them down. I am a tracky. They are the tracker. Let's go, baby. Let's go. The next one. Next one is I watch occasionally. I've fallen off the train with this one a little bit, and that's Adam the Woo. Adam the Woo. I watch him occasionally if the video interests me. I'm not as a religious fan of Adam as I am Tim. I don't know the real reason. I think it's because some places he goes to that aren't to my interest. He does more so. He does Disney stuff for the most part, but then other times he does like horror stuff and like horror cons and you know obscure places in like filming locations and stuff like that. That's not if it's there, it's there. I'll watch it if it pops up if I'm interested enough. But for the most part, it's not my cup of tea. That one, not my cup of tea. And yeah, so Adam Woo's another good one that I enjoy watching. And yeah, it's super exciting to watch him and keep up with his adventures. He's another daily vlogger like Tim. Tim does daily vlogs. Adam does daily vlogs. It's good to watch them. It's good to watch them and just involve yourself with the community and things like that. Yeah, it's great. It's great. Um, and the next one I want to talk about. Is yeah, the next one I want to talk about is Disney Dan. Now, Disney Dan is the other one that I wanted to talk about on a Disney vlogger kind of like category because he has a vlogging channel where he goes into the parks and things like that, but it is separated. But his main niche is looking at costumes on how they've evolved from the park opening to modern day, to like present day. And I find that an interesting concept and all that kind of stuff. He goes through in depth of like if they've ever been on like Disney on Ice, Disney parades, shows, that kind of stuff. He does that. It's super fun. He has like an ongoing series like every Halloween where he looks at like costumes, like Disney costumes and things like that. It's very, very cool. It's a very cool subject. That is his main kind of content. It's cool to see the development of that. And again, I'd probably class that as like a Disney history video because he calls it Distery Dan. Um, yeah, it's a very cool concept on what he does and how he presents it and how it's made. It's very cool. It's very, very cool. It's a cool concept to see the development of how far Disney has come in the parks because we have to remember 1955, like they didn't know what the heck they were doing back then with the parks and the costumes and the mascots and all that kind of stuff. They had no idea. And to see the development from now, from like like 65 years on from Disneyland and beyond, and 50 years of Walt Disney World a couple of years ago. It's cool to see the development of how much has developed in that amount of time. It's very, very cool. It's very, very cool. History and Disney Dan um, brings that entertainment, brings that that education to me, and it's another one that I tend to watch every video of when it pops up. Just keeping in the loop, keeping in the loop. Yeah. Um, and then we're here. Well, that's what I want to talk about. Is just on Disney documentaries in general, like on Disney Plus that I've watched over the years. That some TV series, docu series, that are just so interesting. They're just so interesting. To learn more about of like how things work at Disney. One in particular is the Imagineering story. That is a very cool series if you've not watched that. Um, There's another one. Was it called Prop Storage or something like that? I don't think it's no longer on there. I think they got rid of it. And there's another one. I can't think of the name. It's what is it called? Let me see. Let me see if I can get Disney Plus up here. Is it going to let me log in? Let me see. I don't think it's going to let me log in, is it? The laptop with a VPN. Don't know, bro. No, it probably won't. But I can't bother sorting it out. I can't bother fixing it. So I've got VPN on. I need to shout out to Surfshark VPN. Hashtag not sponsored, but love their product. Been using it for years now. Super cool, super cool. And it does the trick. I am connected to the United States and no hackers can get my info. Boom. I use it everywhere. Phone, computer, literally everything. Literally everything. And, no hacks. No one can get my data. My data's safe and secure, just like a bank. Maybe not a bank, because banks can be robbed. My data cannot. Hey. Again, not sponsored, but Surfshark VPN. I will happily provide a sponsor because I love your product. Very cool. Yeah, Disney documentaries or Disney docuseries. I watched a lot of them. There was one that I watched about the origins of the Three Caballeros. That was very cool, where Walt and the team went to South America. I've watched one about the Sherman brothers. I've watched one about the origins of Mickey Mouse, of course, because that's a staple. One that was good and that was very, very cool that should be on Disney Plus, but I don't think it is. Walt Before Mickey, which is like a like a movie based on the story of Walt and everything like that. Shows Walt's life story from growing up in Missouri to making his way to the making of Mickey. And it's all the story of like Oswald and Universal getting the rights and him struggling with making movies and things like that. And just struggling on getting laughograms off the ground. And it's a very cool movie. A very cool movie. Yeah, it's just awesome. It's a very cool concept. And I just love learning about Disney history. And like I said, if I could be a Disney historian and there was a course for it, and I could make my way to be a Disney historian, I know enough information to get by. I'm always willing to learn more. It's always super interesting to learn more about Disney and everything like that. It's a passion for me. It's a passion. But yeah, like I say, I've got a lot of Disney videos and Disney um, creators that I do watch, and I highly recommend you go and checking them out. Defunct Land and Yesterworld, George Browning, Mike from the Party, Mr. Nostalgia for your Disney essays and stuff that, is very, very interesting to know for, parks and Disney Channel original movies, DCOMs as they're called in the world. Offhand Disney for more like skit wise and funny, interesting videos of like concepts that are so niche, but also very, very interesting. You two daily vloggers, Tim and Adam, check them out. They're very, very cool. And Disney Dan as well for your evolution of your stuff, your character costumes and stuff like that. Then of course all your Disney documentaries you can find on Disney Plus. You can probably find them on YouTube as well, more or less. Wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I thought I'd just make this episode. Um, it's just an interesting thing for me, and I wanted to share my love of Disney media with all of you wonderful people. Because if you're watching this, obviously you like Disney media. Obviously you like Disney to some extent. You might not be a die-hard fan, but you like Disney. You like Disney, and what harm is there in learning a little bit more of your content and sharing the media of the world with your fellow Disney nerds? I don't see a shame in that at all. And yeah, so thank you so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed. You've learned a little bit more about me and my Disney interests. And yeah, I'll catch you on the flip side. Until then, peace out, y'all. Be sure to check out the rest of the podcast, all the rest of the 4 episodes, all 3 episodes in the trailer. And when things come about with the trip next year, I'll be putting them on here as vlogs. So keep your eyes out for them. Of course, it is going to be a little bit of a DL for now, but oh boy, I'm super excited, super excited, very excited to showcase this, to bring it to y'all. It's gonna be super exciting. I'm very excited. And yeah, so thank you all so much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed this episode with me on the Disney Magic Podcast. And yeah, much love. See you in the next episode. Peace out, y'all. Have a magical day. Bye bye.